Hey everyone, it's Shams at Mascara, and today I'm going to be showing you how to paint chunky glitter, and we're going to be using the shade Stardust, which is GP406 from Mascara Gel-iT. Now, believe you me, painting chunky glitters has been a very popular request with us, and I guess it's because when we paint gels, we're all used to keeping the 3 thin layers, but we are going to be showing you our technique, and we're just going to change it up slightly. So when we refer to chunky glitters, we're referring to glitter polishes that have a slightly bigger sparkle particle. So the first thing we're going to do is remember to roll our polishes, because we want to mix up all the particles really well, because glitters are heavy and they do settle to the bottom, so always remember to give them a good roll. And I even give my glitters a little bit of a flick. I know it seems strange, but that does help loosen some of the particles that sometimes get stuck to the bottom of your bottle when they have been standing for a while. So let's start. It always starts with good prep work, and it always is going to start with your base coat gel. And then I have a detailer brush that I always keep handy, because that's going to help me push around any glitter particles that I just want to get into the spaces that I want them to be. So the first things first, I'm going to show you the traditional way of painting your gels, which is probably what some of you have been doing and you haven't been getting the desired effect. So we would usually start by painting the gel on the nail, but if you can see what I'm doing, I'm painting the gel, but each brush stroke is actually pulling the glitter particle down and off the nail. So I'm not getting much of the look that I'm chasing. So we're going to change this a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a cool comparison so you can see how our technique will look in the end as opposed to doing it the traditional way. So sometimes we just have to break the rules a little bit. So here we go, guys. So we are going to pick up our gel on our brush, and I'm going to clean the one side of my brush. So you'll see the one side of my brush is pretty clean, and the other side is going to hold the bulk of my gel polish with the glitter. And I'm going to start by doing almost a dabbing technique. So we're going to apply our gel to the top, and we're going to dab, dab, dab all the way down the nail. Just like slow dragging movements, just to almost place the glitter where you want it to be. So instead of putting the brush down and painting down, we're going to just dab those little glitters around. Now here's the best part. Because the glitters are suspended in a almost translucent base, it's going to self-level, so you won't have an uneven finish, and you're not going to have any curing issues. So don't overdo it. We don't want to flood the nail with gel. We just want to pick up a little bit more than we usually would and dab it over the nail. Now I'm going to use my detailer brush, and I'm going to use the little fine hairs of this brush just to shift around a little bit of those chunky bits. So if I see an open space, I'll like move a little chunky bit to that open space. So this is going to sort of even out the surface and just create a more sort of evened out, fuller area that is covered by my chunky bits. You can use a dotting tool for that as well, but I think the dotting tool moves the gel around a bit too much, and then you get like an uneven surface. So use the detailer brush. I think that's the best one to do. So that's coat 1, guys, and you can already see the difference. So we're going to cure for 60 seconds, and now we're going to do our second coat, but this time using those traditional ways of painting. So cleaning the brush off and doing our second coat onto the nail, and as you can see, it still just pulls the glitter off a little bit too much. So it is looking better on the second coat, but it's still not looking as full and covered as I want it to be. So just bear in mind that you can do 3 coats with this technique as well, but I promise you 2 coats will give you a pretty solid finish. So here we go with coat number 2 on our sort of dabbing technique. We're going to call it the dabbing technique. Right, so again, picking up my gel, tilting my bottle a little so I can just get a nice scoop of my glitter out, and just make sure that you clean the one side so that you don't have too much product on the brush, because remember, we don't want to flood the nail with gel polish. We just want to cover the surface. So it's about picking up the right amount. Everything is so in between, it's just got to be the right amount. So once you have that first layer on, we're going in with coat number 2. And again, I'm just dragging slowly to make sure I cover the areas. And what happens here is that your first coat kind of forms almost a grip layer. So usually when you do coat number 2 and coat number 3, it's easier because your brush tends to grip to the bottom layer that you first applied. So there we go, guys. I've just put my layer over. I'm going to use my detailer brush once again just to shift around any particles that I want to cover in certain spaces. Also, the detailer brush will help you get a neater cuticle area because you can push your gel in around the cuticle area so that you don't feel kind of out of control with your big gel brush. So you can use the fine little detailers to fill in all the empty spaces. So once you're happy that you've got all the little blank areas covered up, we're going to once again cure our gel for 60 seconds. So guys, I think you can see the difference here. It looks pretty awesome. And there we go. That's our first nail in 2 coats. And as you can see, it's kind of sparsely populated with the glitter. And if we compare it to our dabbing technique, we're going to have a better finish. As you will see, it's way more solid. It's way more bling and shiny, which I guess that's what we're wanting to achieve. And I guess that's what your customers wanting to achieve. And remember, we can do a 3rd coat, so you can even get that look looking way more solid than what I'm showing you now. So I hope that this gives you a little bit of insight about how to work with those chunky glitters. Don't be afraid to paint them. They're very user friendly, they cure easily, and as you can see, you get a pretty flat, smooth finish. So enjoy your glitters and creating those solid bling finishes.